Today we're going to be looking at normal photos with disturbing backstories.
Normal looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. Part 27. This photo shows an elderly couple doing the hokey pokey with a man named Dennis Rader, also known as the BTK killer. He installed alarms for a living, and ironically many clients booked his services to prevent him from entering their homes.
Okay, so you're literally telling me that man he was dancing with then turned out to be like a murderer? Oh, it literally sounds like something out of Criminal Minds. It's so freaky. Imagine you literally pay someone to like help you with security and then it turns out they're the one who takes your life.
This photo shows Luchadora Juana Barraza. She was sold to a man for 3 beers by her mother until her stepdad found her at age 17. Over the years that followed, she would strangle and rob over 45 old women that reminded her of her abusive mom.
Oh my god, that's awful. She got sold for free beers. Whenever I watch these videos, I really do realize how lucky I was with my childhood. Like, I had an amazing childhood. Imagine your mom selling you for free beers.
The man in the background is Christopher Wilde, aka the Beauty Queen Killer. This picture was taken on June 15th, 1984, and Chris is scouting future victims at a beauty pageant.
And yet again, that man probably seemed like a normal man, and then it turns out he was doing stuff like that.
This photo shows John Edward Robinson holding a baby girl named Tiffany. Just one day before this photo was taken, he murdered the baby's mother and gave Tiffany to his brother, saying that she was adopted. His brother, along with Tiffany, didn't find out the truth for 15 years.
That's awful. Imagine your brother literally giving you a child and you raise that child and then it turns out 15 years later you find out your brother murdered her mom. Now, I'm so sorry. This is why I'm genuinely terrified of being around people. All these people in these videos seem super normal and then they're doing stuff like that.
Now this photo does in fact capture the last moments of Regina K. Walters. Now she was killed by who was known as the truck stop killer, aka Robert Ben Rhodes. Now he was to have believed killed over 50 women while driving trucks throughout America between the 1970s and the 1980s.
The 1970s and 80s were a crazy time, weren't they? I kind of wish I was brought up during the 1970s and 80s, but now I'm happy I wasn't because of people like that. Serial killers were so active back in the day, it's like no one could catch them. People would literally leave their back doors open. That's probably why there were so many active serial killers.
Now, the most chilling of his murders is actually believed to be this one, which was his last. Now, just before Robert had killed Regina, he had actually taken photos of her in a barn in Illinois, which show her cowering away in fear. Now, police did find this photo along with several others several months after this was taken when they finally caught up with him. Now, what is so horrifying about this is he was actually actively trying to kill her while he was taking the pictures. So this is a genuine reaction to her knowing that he is trying to kill her. And there are other photos just like this that he had taken. And it's kind of really sick and twisted for him to essentially take photos like terrorizing this poor 14. You gotta bear in mind she was 14 years
That's
old.
so young.
And he, like, the psychological torture you would go through, like, just before she died, of someone holding up a camera as they're about to essentially murder you. It's just a horrible thought to think of. And the worst part of it all is we get to see the fear and the last moments of her life, and the fact that her last moments were generally that of pure fear.
Oh, yet again, it's just so freaky, isn't it? It's like you could look at her and see the fear. This pic always gets me, but never realised she was only 14. Heartbreaking. I remember watching a documentary of some sort. I'm not sure if it was on Netflix or like YouTube, but it showed that photo. And yet again, it's just weird to think that like obviously that was going on, but nobody knew about it. Oh, it's just awful.
Normal looking photos that have a disturbing backstory, part 13. A group of students in India went swimming and took selfies in the water before they left.
What's on the background?
They later noticed that one of the boys was missing and discovered the top of his head in the background of one of their photos. They contacted the police, who found his dead body floating in the pond. This photo shows a starving little girl trying to reach a feeding center when a vulture landed nearby her, waiting for her to die. The photographer, Kevin, was told not to touch any of the children out of fear of getting a disease. In the Victorian era, families used to dress up their dead relatives and take pictures of them.
Oh, I know about
You can see that the
this.
image of the mom and the dad is blurry because they had to wait for the camera shutter to cycle, but the daughter's photo is perfectly clear. The man in this photo is Nasala. He hadn't met his rubber quota for the day, so his bosses cut off his daughter's wife and hand, and then they killed his daughter and wife and then cannibalized them. This photo shows Nasala being forced to stare at his 5-year-old daughter's chopped off hand and foot.
Okay, well that was traumatic. Yet again, why did stuff like that happen back in the days? How was that allowed? All of that went in one ear out the other. Basically, something happened at work and then like his wife lost his hands and like they ate her. What? The photographer from the Vulture pic took his own life due to regrets of not helping the girl, by the way. I've read about that before, like apparently the guilt got to him. But imagine literally not touching a child due to like diseases. I always hate looking at photos like that, like, oh, it just makes me so sad. Kids are brought up in an era where they literally don't have enough food, like it's heartbreaking. I'm confused with the dressing up dead relatives one. Is the daughter dead and she's not blurry? I think she might be deceased and basically she's not moving, because think of it, whenever people used to take photos back in like the 1900s, like you literally had to stand like this for like minutes, like you couldn't move like that, because if you did it would like blur the photo. So obviously the parents are blurred but the daughter isn't, because she's not moving, because she's not here.
Photos taken right before disaster. Part 1. Just a man pouring water.
Oh, I knew the background for this.
No, it was acid he was pouring.
Ugh.
Normal school photo.
Columbine.
No, these
Yep,
students was pointing guns at the camera.
I've seen a lot of these photos before because I'm into TikToks like this. Basically in the first photo, it looks like the guy's pouring water. Turns out he's actually pouring acid. I don't know exactly when the photo was taken, but it was back in like the 1950s or 60s. It was sometime back then where basically black people weren't allowed in white people's spaces. And I'm pretty sure that they were in like a black pill, but for some reason that guy still poured like acid over them. It was awful. Oh no, students pointing with hands at the camera. Well, if you know the context about the photo, you'll have a different opinion. The people in that photo, you know, took a lot of people's lives very soon after. I don't know how soon after. I don't know if it was a day, a month, a year, etc. However, then people basically shut up the school.
Photos with disturbing backstories, PT 18.
Okay, vacationing with the person you love can have long-lasting positive effects both mentally and physically, but this selfie of a happy couple holds a really disturbing backstory. Oh, I think I know what's going to happen. In June 2018, who was 7 months pregnant, were on holiday in Turkey. I can't pronounce her name, sorry. He wanted to visit a popular tourist cliff in Butterfly Valley. The wife, who was 7 months pregnant at the time, was afraid of heights. Oh yeah, I'm with her, I don't like heights. Once there, he would make his wife wait in agonizing 3 hours until the area was clear. And the photo you can see her obviously happy to be pregnant and beginning family with her husband. But this scene, yeah. Oh, but minutes after, oh, yeah. Oh god, that's awful. She lost her footing. No. Absolutely not. That's awful. Oh my god, wait, yeah, you can see her. Oh god, that's just awful. Yeah, right there. I hate that. That's actually why I don't like going near cliffs. I hope he got arrested and put in the jail for the rest of his life. Sentenced life, okay, that's good. But he literally took 2 lives. His wife and his unborn child, that's awful. I will never ever understand how someone can be so evil. And that right there kind of is why I'm kind of like scared of like heights. I'm just so scared of, you know, like going up to them and falling off or getting pushed off. Because you would think him being married to her and impregnating her and like having a child with her, he would love her, but no, he done not. If any man, husband or not, ever tried to get me to stay somewhere until there was no witnesses, question mark, how did she not notice that red flag? Well, you have to keep in mind they were married and she was pregnant, so she probably just thought, oh, he wanted a good photo. I mean, if you marry someone, you don't think they're going to try and push you off a cliff, do you? She was obviously in love with him and trusted him, and then he done that. Well, I was able to guess the ending of the video. I know. I knew exactly what the end it was going to be as well, sadly. Okay, more photos with disturbing backstories. Just normal photo. What is that? Okay, well that is Slenderman or Jeffree Star. Normal photo. What's in his hand? Responsible for 80,000 deaths? What? What is that? Was that like a bomb? Was it like nuclear stuff? What was that? How is that responsible for 80,000 deaths? So why is he holding it? The one that says 80,000 deaths is the core for Nagasaki. I won't lie, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna assume it's probably got to do with a bomb or something nuclear. But it's the fact that he's literally just like holding it. Did he know it was that dangerous? Stuff like that's terrifying.
Pictures with disturbing backstories. Good spot for an insta pic.
Oh my god.
A moment later,
yeah,
she lost the balance.
a lot of Russian people do
Math
that.
teacher in hurry.
That is from
This
Columbine.
teacher is a hero and saved a
Yeah.
lot of lives at the Columbine shooting, but died while saving the kids.
That must be so terrifying to be in a situation like that where you know what's gonna happen and you basically sacrifice your life. That maths teacher's a hero. He probably saved a lot of lives, but it's the fact that he literally gave up his life in exchange for other lives. That's why I do have a bit of fear of going to America. Obviously, if I go there, I'm probably going to be safe, you know, I'm not really going to be caught up in the shooting. But I think it's all mental. It's like in your head, you think, what if? You know, you don't know if like 99.9% of people with guns are good people, but there is that 0.01% of bad people. And it's like, what happens if you're caught up in a situation, wrong place, wrong time, and like something like that happens? It's just terrifying, like it really is. The fact I know someone who went to that school and survived as well. If you were caught up in a situation like that, I don't know how I'd feel about surviving. Depends what your experience was. Maybe you heard it, or maybe you actually like witnessed it up close. Me personally, I honestly think I'd have awful PTSD because I did witness someone breaking their leg whenever I was younger, and even to this day, like I still get freaked out about it. Like I still get like nightmares about it. But imagine being caught up in like an event like that. Like it would proper freak you out. You would be traumatized. Would I personally want to survive? I don't know if I would.
Normal looking photos with disturbing backstories. This first photo looks pretty normal, but if you look closer, you'll see a mannequin in the window. And this is not a regular
That's a
mannequin.
body.
This shop is located in Mexico, and the owner had a terrible family tragedy. The shop owner's daughter was about to get married when she was tragically bitten by a black widow spider and passed away on her wedding day.
Oh, God.
And not long after, this mannequin appeared in the shop window, making many people believe that the shop owner actually turned her own daughter into a mummy. Because this mannequin is alarmingly lifelike, especially its hands. People have
And the
reported the
eyes.
mannequin's eyes following them as they walk around the shop, or even suddenly seeing the mannequin in a completely different position. But the next photo is just as terrifying. This might just look like a father at his daughter's graduation, but the man in this photo is actually Dennis Rader, aka the BTK killer, who took over 10 lives over 25 years. He was a church president and a happily married father. It's terrifying to think that for 25 years he was hiding this evil secret from everyone.
We heard about him earlier in the video, and they were talking about how he worked in a church. I think it's so interesting how somebody like him will have such a wholesome job working in a church, but there's such an evil person commits such sinister acts. It's weird that I think that the fact that like they're close to God cancels out the fact that they've done evil acts. It was like Jimmy Savile, like he was a Catholic Christian, and he always spoke about Christianity and how, you know, he loved God, but then, you know, he abused kids as well. It's weird. For the mannequin, we can just dissect it and see if it's real or not. See, I don't know if it's the actual body, but if you look at it up at the top, it kind of does look like real eyes and eyelashes. I don't know. Ugh, it kind of looks a bit cursed. I don't like looking at it.
Photos with disturbing backstories, part 2. This is the last photo ever
Ooh.
taken of Michael Rockefeller. In it, he's in the company of
That's
cannibals who are
terrifying.
believed to have
Oh,
caused
no,
his
absolutely
death.
not.
In 1961, Michael was boating down a river with an anthropologist when their boat suddenly broke down. Michael chose to jump into the water and swim to shore, which was the last time he was ever seen alive. While his record officially says that he drowned, there are rumors that the Azmat tribe, who were known to practice cannibalism, were involved in his disappearance. But the story doesn't conclude there. Roughly 10 years after Michael's disappearance, National Geographic took on a project about the Azmat tribe, and they recorded footage of them rowing their boats. And did you catch it? There appears to be a white man paddling
damn.
alongside the tribe. Maybe this photograph isn't as unsettling as we once thought.
That actually kind of did look like him. But I'm going to put up beside me one of them smiling. That is so scary. He's got a really scary smile. Have you ever looked at someone before and like you look at them in the eyes and they smile and they've got like a creepy smile? Oh, I don't like it. He looks like Jeffrey Dahmer. I think people back in the day in the 1960s did look like Jeffrey Dahmer. Yet again, 1960s, what was going on with them years? Crazy things were happening. Well, anyways, guys, that is some normal looking photos with disturbing backstories. I am absolutely traumatized because some of these were freaky. If you see me look at more creepy stuff in the future, I definitely will. Press the bigger subscribe and see you all tomorrow for another video.